Hey, I'm not really sure why I'm writing this down. Maybe because I haven't slept properly since that night. Maybe because telling the story out loud makes it feel more real. Or maybe it's just to warn someone else. Whatever it is, this isn't a campfire tale. This isn't a viral creepypasta. This happened to me. It was a Thursday night. Quiet, boring, cold. You know the kind. My parents had gone upstate for my cousin's engagement party. I was 17, swamped with finals, and asked to stay behind. They left me with pizza money and my dad's parting joke, "Don't throw a party." Spoiler, I didn't. I did what any other kid would do when left alone. I binge-watched horror movies, ate garbage, and wrapped myself in every blanket in the house. Our place isn't huge. A one-story, three-bedroom suburban thing in Cherryfield. Pretty enough. Pretty normal, but that's what made it worse. It was around 1 a.m., I remember, because I checked my phone just before I passed out on the couch. I paused a movie, some old found footage thing, because my eyelids were getting heavy. And then I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. 3 slow knocks on the front door. I froze. You know how sometimes your brain can't even process fear right away? It just goes still. That's what happened. For a few seconds, I just sat there listening to my own breathing. No doorbell, just knocks. I peeked at my phone again. 1:13 a.m. exactly. I remember because that number felt weird, too specific. And then the knocking came again. Knock, knock, knock. I stood up slowly, still wrapped in the blanket like a burrito. I know that's dumb, but I wasn't thinking clearly. I tiptoed toward the front door, didn't turn on any lights, just kind of crept along the wall. We have a little frosted window next to the door. You can't see details through it, just vague outlines, shapes. And I swear to you, I saw someone standing there. Tall, still, not moving, just waiting. Didn't say anything. Opened the door, just watched. And this part still makes my skin crawl even now. They knocked again. But this time the knock didn't come from the door, it came from the back sliding glass door. Jumped, practically ran to the kitchen. Our backyard is fenced in and the gate was locked. Nobody should be back there. Nobody could be back there. When I peeked through the curtain covering the sliding door, there was a shadow, but quite human-shaped. Too thin, tall, standing there, as still as before. Backed away. My heart was racing. Remember thinking, all the cops, but I didn't. When I turned around again, the front door window was empty. Shadow was gone. Then came the sound that finally broke me. Garage door opener started humming. Here's the thing, I don't have a keypad outside. It opens with remotes. One in my dad's truck, one in my mom's purse. It was here. I ran to the garage hallway and watched in horror as the mechanical whine got louder and the garage door began to lift. Halfway, stopped, sat there, open enough for someone to crawl in. Locked the garage hallway door immediately, deadbolt too. Shaking now, full on panicking. I didn't know what to do. Backed into the living room, grabbed my phone, but no signal. Ours. A suburb, not the woods. Phone just showed no service. No Wi-Fi either. Was on, but the lights were red. Know if I should hide, run, scream, or pray. I heard it from the hallway. Not a voice I recognized, just this broken, breathy whisper. You leave the door open. I ran to my room and locked myself in. Dresser in front of the door. I stayed there all night, holding a baseball bat, watching the doorknob, barely breathing. Sunrise. It was over. Garage was closed. The doors were locked. The phone and Wi-Fi were working again. Something else changed. A handprint on the inside of the sliding glass door. A smudge. Long, narrow fingers like they'd been dipped in ash. Wall next to the front door, scratched into the drywall. Next time. 13. I wish I could tell you it all ended there. That the thing never came back. That I slept it off, convinced myself it was just a dream. A panic attack. Some weird psychological breakdown, but I'd be lying. After that night, everything changed. I stopped using the front door completely. Started sleeping in my parents' room with the door locked, lights on. My friends noticed I was on edge. I couldn't explain why without sounding insane. Even the time 1:13 a.m. made me sick to my stomach. I avoided clocks, avoided sleeping. But you can't stay awake forever. A week went by. I didn't tell my parents anything. How could I? Hey, Dad, while you were gone, something inhuman tried to crawl in from the garage and left me a goodbye note in drywall scratches. Yeah, no, still, I couldn't ignore what was happening. My dog, Luna, stopped going near the hallway where the garage was. She'd stand there, low growl in her throat, tail between her legs. She even peed inside once. She'd never done that before. That was when I knew this wasn't in my head. I started researching, obsessively, folklore, urban legends, Reddit threads, unsolved home intrusions, even cursed times and numerology. You know what kept popping up? That same number, 113. In multiple cultures, 1:13 a.m. was called the cut minute, the thinning of the veil, supposedly a moment when something slips through. Not always, but sometimes, and only where there's emptiness. I kept thinking about what it said. Why did you leave the door open? I didn't leave anything open. Or had I? Took me days to remember. At night, when I brought in groceries before my parents left, forgot to close the basement door all the way. Doesn't lead anywhere. Storage meant floors. Dust. For a few hours it had stayed ajar. Maybe that's all it needed. Next incident happened exactly 7 days later. Monday night. I'd almost convinced myself I imagined everything. As the clock hit 1:10 a.m., I felt that old static in the air. That tensing of reality. Like the house was holding its breath. And then, knock, knock, knock. From inside the house, jumped. Ran into the living room. Nothing. No shadow. No sound. But then I heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. Soft. Time coming from under the floor. The basement. Grabbed my phone. Started recording. Even though I knew no one would believe me. Crept toward the basement door. Knocking had stopped. There was something else. Scratching. Slow, like nails dragging on cement. I placed my ear to the door, held my breath, and I swear to God, I heard whispering. Still open. You left it open again. Locked the door. I bolted it. I shoved furniture in front of it. Stayed up all night, sweating, frozen in fear. Next morning, I told my best friend. Oh, the rational type. Aunt's kid. Never believed in ghosts. But when I showed him the video, heard the whisper, he just stared at me and said, "Not your voice. That doesn't even sound human." Something stupid after that. Decided to investigate. Night, we waited until 1 a.m. cameras on, phones charged, baseball bat and flashlight in hand. 13 a.m. the air got heavy. Gravity itself changed. Sometimes silence can feel alive. It was like that. The knocking. Not from the front door. Not the garage. This time it was coming from inside the walls. Leo turned white. What is that? Rats? Both knew better. Don't whisper. Saw it. Movement in the hallway. Not a shadow. Not a person. Reality warping for a second. A figure tall enough to reach the ceiling. Slid. Yes, slid. Into my parents' bedroom. Speak. We just ran. Front door. Left it wide open. Drove 2 blocks before either of us could breathe. Didn't sleep for days. Used to come back to my house. Returned that weekend and I pretended everything was fine. But I knew I couldn't keep this secret anymore. Mom about the house. If anything weird ever happened before. Just comfortable. Something that still haunts me. To sleepwalk as a kid. Always at 1:13. We had to put alarms on the doors because you kept trying to go outside. Knew that. Never remembered it. Worse. Old box in the attic. My baby stuff. Drawings. Journals. One of the crayon drawings caught my eye. A stick. Figure child. A tall black shape standing behind him. And the title, written in shaky block letters. The door is open. And on the back of the page, scribbled over and over, was the same time, 1:13 a.m. And it came was, oh, I'd moved out, new apartment, different city, different life. I hadn't thought about any of it for weeks. I even laughed sometimes. Maybe it was just trauma, sleep paralysis, mass hysteria. My new place, top floor, secured entry, solid locks. Buzzed. A single notification, no number, no app, just a timestamp. And the message, you left the door open. Hey, I don't really tell people this story. I've started and deleted it a dozen times, not because I'm scared of sounding crazy. I know I do. It's just that when you say something out loud, it becomes real. But if you're hearing this, maybe part of you is already like me. You've felt it. That invisible tension at night. That silence that isn't empty but listening. So here's what happened. This was about 4 years ago. I was 21, working nights at a diner on the outskirts of town. I just moved into a basement studio. cheap, semi-finished, with that damp mildew smell no matter how often I cleaned. It was supposed to be temporary, just something to keep me afloat while I figured out what to do with my life. I didn't have many friends, barely talked to my family. I kind of liked being alone. At first, I loved the place. It was quiet, isolated, and the landlord never checked in. Just one big room with a partitioned bathroom and a kitchenette. But then I noticed the window. It was this narrow rectangular thing, barely a foot tall, running along the top of the wall near the ceiling. Classic basement design. Nothing strange, except it wasn't a window to the outside. It faced an interior hallway. I asked the landlord once, "Hey, what's that little corridor on the other side of my window?" He just gave this weird smile and said, "Oh, that's a service tunnel. It's sealed. Nothing to worry about." That should have been a red flag. But I was broke and desperate, and honestly, kind of numb, so I stayed. The first time it happened, I thought I was dreaming. I'd worked a double shift, came home around 2 a.m., dead tired. I remember crashing onto the futon, still wearing my shoes. Then, around 3:00 a.m., I woke up. Not suddenly. It was that slow, sinking wakefulness. Like when your brain knows something's off before you do. It was quiet. Even the mini fridge wasn't humming, and that's when I noticed it. A face, right up against the glass of the window, pressed flat, pale, expressionless. Eyes weren't wide with malice. They weren't even angry, just watching, like I was. A fish in a tank. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I don't know how long I laid there, frozen, maybe minutes, maybe seconds. But when I finally sat up, it was gone. No sound, no footsteps, just that same dead silence. Convinced myself I was dreaming. Sleep paralysis, been working too hard. I even laughed it off, until it happened again, exactly 1 week later. 2 a.m. time. I was wide awake, playing something, on my laptop, headphones on, lights low, then, feeling again. Someone just flipped the air to a different frequency, turned, and there it was. Same face, searching me, not blinking, staring. This time there was a hand on the glass, long fingers, gray skin, like it hadn't seen daylight in years. Screamed, rushed to the window, but the corridor on the other side was empty. The landlord swore it was sealed off. "One goes in there," he said, half laughing like I was insane. Had it locked up last year. Asked him harder. Said I wanted to see the corridor. He refused. Said it was structurally unstable. I let it go. But I didn't sleep for 2 days. And then things got worse. Not the face. Not yet. Noises. Lie in bed and hear breathing. Just on the edge of hearing. Someone was inches from the wall. Like they were waiting for me to fall asleep. Sometimes I'd hear a light tapping on the glass. 3 short taps. 3 a.m. I got fed up. Left my laptop camera recording. Set it to face the window. And when I watched it back, the next morning there was nothing. Until 2:59 a.m., the footage glitched. Just for a second. The screen blurred. The audio warped. And then, frame by frame, I saw it. Pressed against the glass. Watching the camera. Knew I was filming. And, as the glitch faded, so did the figure. And I knew this wasn't human. I didn't go to work the next night. I couldn't. I just kept staring at the footage, replaying that glitch over and over. That face. The way it looked straight into the lens, unblinking. Like it knew I'd be watching later, like it wanted me to. By the time the sun came up, I'd made a decision. I packed a bag. I was going to leave, but when I got to the door, it was locked. And not just locked, jammed, like someone had forced something down into the frame, warped the hinges. It wouldn't budge. I tried the window in the bathroom. Nailed shut. Even the ceiling vent, the only other exit, had been blocked off with what looked like fresh drywall and plaster. It was like the room had sealed itself in. I backed away, my heart hammering so hard I could barely hear myself think. The air in the room felt wrong. Thicker, like I was breathing inside someone else's lungs. I tried my phone. No signal. That was the final snap. I started screaming, yelling, kicking the door, punching the walls, and then a knock. Not on the door, on the window. I turned slowly. There it was. Not the face this time. A figure. Human-shaped, but wrong. Too tall. Limbs out of proportion. Its head tilted at an unnatural angle like it had to dislocate its own neck just to fit in front of the narrow glass. It didn't move, just watched. Its mouth began to open, slowly, wider than it should have. Far, far too wide, and I heard it. Not through the glass, but inside my head. You let me in. I fell back, hit the floor, and scrambled away like an animal. I must have blacked out, because when I came to, the light outside the window was different. Daylight. The figure was gone. Now something was different. Air felt older. Body ached like I'd been laying on concrete. The room seemed darker, even in daylight. It's when I noticed the door was open. I ran. Didn't grab a thing. Just sprinted out into the hallway and didn't stop until I was 3 blocks away. Called a friend. Slept in their car that night. Next morning, I went back with him to grab my stuff. And that's when it all changed. Because the place, basement apartment, didn't exist. Swear to God, it was gone. Its place was just a rusted metal door, padlocked, and a sign that said, "Danger, unsafe structure, do not enter." I freaked out. Demanded to see the landlord. Neighbor said the building had been condemned for years. No one had lived down there in over a decade, but I'd just been there. I'd paid rent. I had emails, receipts from a landlord named Mr. Harlan. Tried calling the number. Out of service. To the city offices. Filed a complaint. Told me the building had no registered tenants. I checked my bank records. Payments. No withdrawals. It was like the past 3 months had just vanished. Even the laptop footage. Corrupted. Unreadable. I'd lost time. I'd lost money. First of all, I'd lost certainty. Because now, every night at 3 a.m., no matter where I am, feel it. Same silence, same invisible gaze, like someone, something, still watching, waiting. Sometimes, before I fall asleep, whisper from the corner of the room, me in. It started the night my parents left for their anniversary trip. 3 days. Just 3. I was 16, old enough to stay home alone, confident, independent, or at least that's what I kept telling myself. The first few hours were fine. Ordered pizza, played loud music, even stood in the middle of the living room yelling, "I can do whatever I want," like some dumb movie cliche. But by midnight, the house felt different, too quiet. Our place isn't old. It's not one of those creaky Victorian houses where things go bump in the night for no reason. It's a plain 2-story home in a boring cul-de-sac in Nebraska. We don't even have basements, but we do have an attic. And at exactly 12:47 a.m., I heard something move up there. A single heavy thud, like someone had dropped a sack of bricks above my bedroom ceiling. I froze, didn't even breathe. The sound didn't come again. But that kind of silence, that unnatural waiting silence, it wraps around your spine, sinks teeth into your skin. I grabbed my phone, texted my friend Kayla.me. "Hey, you up? Kayla. Barely. What's up? Me. I think I heard something in the attic. Kayla. You know. Tell it to pay rent or get out. Me. I'm serious, Kayla. LOL, want me to come over? I hesitated. Truth was, I didn't want her involved if something was actually wrong. Me. Prob just the wind. Or rats or something. Except there weren't any rats. Our attic was sealed. My dad had it professionally insulated last summer. And the only way up there? A narrow wooden pull-down ladder in the hallway. The kind that groans. When you even breathe on it, I decided to ignore it. Popped in my earbuds. Watched dumb videos until I fell asleep. Next night, same time, same sound. But this time it came twice. Thud. And 5 seconds later, thud. Didn't sleep after that. Stayed up. Every light on. Sat in the kitchen with a baseball bat like some suburban warrior. Heart pounding like I was preparing for war. But nothing came down. Nothing moved again. 6 a.m. I finally dozed off and woke up to find something on the kitchen table, not placed. Left, a single Polaroid photo. Me, asleep, same clothes, same couch. Angle from the side, like whoever took it had been just out of frame. I stared at it for a solid minute before I could move. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped my phone twice trying to call my mom. No answer. Tried my dad. Name. Sent a text to Kayla, but I didn't tell her the whole thing. Just asked if I could crash at her place. She said yeah. Packed fast. And even shower. I reached for my bag. Something made me stop. Sound. From the hallway. Attic ladder. Lowering itself. Swear to God, I didn't touch it. Spring dangled gently like it had been pulled by air. Then one of the wooden slats cracked as pressure hit it. Like weight. Grabbed my bag and ran. Didn't look back. At night, at Kayla's, I couldn't sleep. Mind kept replaying that moment. The photo, the ladder, the slow creaking noise. No, what scared me more? The idea that something was in my attic. or that someone had been living there all along. Next morning, I convinced Kayla's brother to come back with me, played linebacker for the school, and had the kind of shoulders that made doors nervous. Got there around noon. Light. Things seemed stupid. Normal. Showed him the photo. Laughing. Inside. Looked untouched. Signs of forced entry. Like ladder? Down. Just stood there. That I'd been avoiding even thinking about. Me to go up there? I didn't want him to. Instinct in me screamed, no. Nodded. He climbed slowly. By step. Groaning under his weight. He disappeared into the dark. I waited, holding my breath, counting the seconds. 10, 15, 30. Anything? I called up. 5. Screamed his name when his voice echoed down. There's like a little bed up here. Old food. Dude, someone's been staying here for a while. Went cold. He kept going. Photos, like hundreds. And a journal or something. Silence. Stopped talking. Air just cut off. Up again. I. Full minute before climbing up myself. Reached the top. On. The attic. Empty. No bed. No food. Just dust and shadows and cold air that shouldn't have been there. But in the center, a new Polaroid. Of me. From today. In the hallway. Looking up. And scribbled across the bottom. Shaky red ink letters. You brought him to me. I stood there. Frozen at the top of the attic ladder. Staring at the Polaroid like it was a trigger. The red ink message burned itself into my skull. You brought him to me. Kayla's brother was gone. No sounds. No scuffle. Nothing. Just silence. As if he'd evaporated. I backed down the ladder, hand shaking, foot slipping slightly. When I hit the floor, I bolted from the hallway and slammed my bedroom door shut like it would protect me from whatever was now in that house. The air felt wrong. Thicker. Like the house had grown lungs and was holding its breath. I called Kayla. This time, I didn't sugarcoat it. Kayla, I think something took your brother. She laughed, but it was short. Nervous. What the hell are you talking about? I told her everything. About the Polaroids, the journal, the attic, and how everything just vanished. She went silent. You sure he didn't just prank you? No one's that good. After a few tense moments, she agreed to come over. Said she'd bring backup. Her cousin Nate, who worked night security. Stay out of the house until we get there. But I didn't listen. Instead, I did something even dumber. I went back up into the attic. This time, the air felt colder. Not the kind of cold that comes from a vent or a draft. It was old, like the attic remembered winter from 50 years ago and never let it go. And then just like before, the attic was empty, except for one new thing. A trap door. Not the one I came through. A smaller one. In the far left corner under a tangle of cobwebs and black insulation that looked like ash. Hadn't been there yesterday. Crouched. Pulled it open. A ladder dropped into blackness, led down, then something. Some part of me that I don't even understand. Told me to climb, so I did. Step after step into pure dark. No flashlight. It's the blue glow of my phone screen lighting each rung like a candle flickering in wind. The bottom, room. Stone walls, old, damp, and carved with strange shapes. Spirals, eyes, crosses upside down. Pictures of me. Taped, pinned, etched. Some recent. Others, from years ago. Was one of me as a toddler. At a park, in a sandbox. I don't even remember that day. Someone had been watching me since then. Journal sat in the center of the floor. Open it up. Pages and pages of tiny writing, some normal, some deranged. There were lists of my routines, habits, friends, food I liked, the way I scratched my arm when nervous. Then, buried halfway in, way before you scream for 3 days. You won't last one. Dropped it, turned, saw him. Corner of the room, half in shadow, barely visible like something the dark was too scared to reveal. Move. Felt him watching me. My chest tightened, throat went dry, and then I heard Kayla's voice far above me calling my name. I bolted up the ladder, slipped once, skinned my knee, didn't care. Burst through the attic trapdoor, pulled it shut behind me, and ran for the hallway. Screamed. Her name. She and Nate were already inside. I ran straight into them. "Where's Drew?" she asked. I couldn't answer. Nate held up a flashlight. "Let me see this attic." I tried to stop him, begged him not to, but he was already climbing. We waited. Kayla gripped my arm like it was the only solid thing in the world. Every second that passed felt like a countdown to something horrible. Then Nate called down, "There's no trapdoor up here. My stomach flipped. I swear, there's nothing. Isolation and dust. Back down, brushing cobwebs from his jacket. Turned to me, tears forming. Some twisted joke? Heard the journal. Blank. Now all the pages empty. No writing, no photos. Just a name etched in the back cover. The Watcher in the Crawl. Took a photo of it on his phone. Said he'd research it. We all stayed in the living room. No one dared sleep. We kept the lights on, doors locked, attic sealed. At 3 a.m. the power went out. Ladder dropped. I screamed. Nate grabbed the bat I kept near the couch and ran upstairs. I held Kayla's hand so tight I thought I might break it. Then we heard the screams, Nate yelling, crashing, a growl, not human. Then silence. We ran up. The attic ladder was gone, as if it had never been there. Nate. Photo on the hallway floor of all three of us, taken that night, and on the back, scribbled in the same red ink, supposed friends. A week later, my parents came home. I never told them. The attic door never opened again, not on its own, but sometimes at 3:03 a.m., I hear something scratching from above, like long nails or bones dragging across wood. And in the corner of my eye, I think I see a camera flash, just for a second. Still show up, taped to my door, left on my pillow, each one a little closer. How long I have left. Sleeping, because I know the rule now.